Well, today, the Senate is starting its probe into the January 6th Capitol riots, questioning 3 former top U.S. Capitol security officials. Bloomberg congressional reporter Dan Flatley is here with us now with the latest. Hey, Dan, thanks so much for joining us on this. So the security chiefs are right now giving different accounts of the riots. Bring us up to speed. What have we heard so far? What are they saying?
Right. So I think, sort of the star witness, if you will, heading into this was the Capitol Police Chief Stephen Sund, who had given some interviews immediately following the events of January 6th, sort of excoriating really his counterparts in the House and Senate, the Sergeants-at-Arms, which are really sort of responsible for the security of the Capitol complex. And Sund basically sort of said that he had routed his request for National Guard troops and for additional support to the House and Senate Sergeants-at-Arms, and that there had been a substantial delay of at least an hour, if not more, in honoring that request or getting resources moving. And he repeated a lot of that sort of testimony this morning and got some pushback from the Sergeants-at-Arms, particularly the former Sergeant-at-Arms of the House, Paul Irving, who said that Sund's account of what happened was not accurate and that there were some other things that happened. And so lawmakers are really sort of trying to pinpoint what is going on. And we even had some suggesting earlier that they may try to get phone records to find out who called who, when, and how all this happened. So we're really just kind of getting into some of the nitty-gritty details now, but certainly something that a lot of people on Capitol Hill and around the country are watching very closely.
Dan, everything on Capitol Hill is political, even something that is a national tragedy such as this. I'm wondering what lawmakers want at the end of this. What is the final result that comes from this? And how is that different from Democrats in the Senate and the House versus Republicans in the Senate and the House?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great question. There's sort of certainly a lot of political dynamics at play. I think that in general, what you will see is an attempt to kind of reform security for events going forward. One of the things that has been suggested is reforming some of the sort of privacy and secrecy around the Capitol Police. They're not subject to some of the FOIA, Freedom of Information laws that other police departments are subject to. And they're sort of famously very sort of insular and closed mouth about what happened. So I think that could be an upshot of this. I think more broadly, Democrats certainly want to focus on who the rioters were, who these people were who participated in this attempted insurrection, or this insurrection, as it were. And so they, you heard Senator Amy Klobuchar, who's the chairwoman of the Senate Rules Committee, open her questioning by asking, were these people who came to the Capitol on January 6th, did they include white supremacists? Did they include extremist groups? And all of the police officials involved agreed that that was the case. So I think that you're going to see a lot of focus on that from Democrats, and particularly on perhaps where former President Donald Trump was involved in, or not involved in sort of the chain of command in terms of getting the National Guard to the Capitol. For Republicans, I think it's going to be on why more wasn't done to stop this from happening once it started. And I think they're going to put a lot of focus on the involvement of House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, whether she was involved in any of the decisions about planning ahead of the January 6th electoral certification, or what she knew when things were happening. Of course, she was sort of involved in being evacuated at the time, right. So it's going to be hard to know exactly what's going on there, but that's certainly a preview of what I think some of the Republicans will focus on.
Yeah, and in hearing some of those people who were testifying brings me back just a couple of weeks ago to the impeachment trial, and then, of course, a little over a month ago to that day. Bloomberg's Dan Flatley in Washington. Hey, Dan, thanks so much for your time and for joining us on this. We appreciate it.
The biggest stories the moment they happen from around the globe. Subscribe to Bloomberg Quicktake now for insight in an instant.